Good afternoon, everyone. Today I have a sutra for you all. It's called Inna Sutra or Death. It's from Anguttara Nikaya, the book of the sixth, number 45. In this sutta, the Buddha taught us that there are two kinds of death. The first one is death for those who are still involved in the five sensuality, the five sensual pleasures, which are the visible object, sound, smell, taste, and tangible objects. The other is death in the monastic world, or death for those who try to avoid the five sensual pleasures. For those involving five sensual pleasures, poverty, of course, being poor, is suffering in the world. When facing poverty, they tend to get into debt, right? They try to borrow money from someone. It's also suffering in the world. Then, when they get into debt and they cannot find the money to return or to pay back, right? They will have to pay interest. The next step is to be served notice, pursued, followed by the creditors or the one who lend you money. And the last one, if you cannot pay the money that you borrow, then perhaps you might be punished and get the bondage by the creditors. Thus, monks, poverty is suffering in the world for one who involved in sensuality, getting to debt, paying interest, being served notice, being pursued, and finally being punished, being trapped, for not paying back such debt is suffering in the world for one involving in sensuality. For those who are in the discipline of the noble one, for the one who try to avoid five sensualities, or the one who ordain, shave the head like this, they still have debt if they do the following. Whoever has no conviction in the triple gem, no conviction in what is skillful, like skillful qualities, no sense of conscience, no persistence, no wisdom about what is skillful, he or she is said to be in poverty, is said to be poor. Having no conviction, no sense of conscience, no concern, no discernment or wisdom about skillful mental qualities, they engaged in misconduct by way of body, speech, and mind. It is like getting into debt. When they do something wrong by the way of body, speech, and mind, they wish that no one knows about my wrongdoings, no one knows about my bad actions, and try to do everything to conceal the misconduct. It is like trying to pay the interest. And then his well-behaved companions, like the friends in the holy life, say about them that you are not sincere. You act this way, but you behave in this way. You try to convince people that you have, precepts. You have pure precepts, but actually that you don't have any precepts, or you don't have pure precepts, something like that. So when your friend know that you try to make people believe that you are one thing, but actually you behave another. So it's like being served notice. Someone know that you do the wrong thing. So wherever you go, into the wilderness, to the foot of a remote tree, or to the remote forest, or to an empty dwelling, they will be followed with unskillful thoughts, with remorse, and bad thoughts. It is like being pursued or followed by creditors. You are being haunted by the thing that you have done, and people know about it, right? So it's like that you are pursued by the creditors or the one that lend you money. So when such persons die, they are bound by the bond of hell or the bond of the animal womb. The Buddha said that being punished in hell or having to be born in the animal womb, like cat, dog, something like that, is tormenting, is painful and obstructive. It is the unexcelled rest from bondage. It is like you are trapped and punished by the mean creditors. Later in this sutra, the Buddha said in prose that poverty is called suffering in the world, so too is getting into debt. A poor person or the person in debt, partaking of sensuality, suffers hardship. Then they held him and put him into bondage, the painful bond for one longing to gain sensual pleasures. Now anyone with no conviction in the discipline of the Noble One, no sense of conscience, no sense of concern, contemplating evil actions, doing wrong by way of body, speech, and mind, wants, may they not know about me. He creeps along in body, speech, and mind, piling up evil actions here and there, again and again. He, with evil actions, his wisdom's weak, knowing his own wrongdoing, is a poor person or in debt. Partaking of sensuality, he suffers hardship. Then they howl him painful mental resolve born of remorse. At home or in the wilderness, he, with evil actions, his wisdom weak, knowing his own wrongdoing, goes into animal womb or is bound in hell, the painful bond from which the enlightened are freed. But one with confidence, on the contrary, one with confidence, living at home, making gifts of his belongings righteously gained, win both goals, advantage in the here and now, and happiness in the world beyond, like in heaven and in the Brahma. The liberality of his householder piles up merit. Now anyone with conviction, firmly established in the discipline of the Noble One, with a sense of conscience, a sense of concern, discerning, and restraint by virtue, is, in the discipline of the Noble One, said to be living in ease, gaining a pleasure not of the flesh. He abandoned the 5 hindrances, persistent, constantly aroused, entering the jhana, when meditate and then you reach the jhana, the 4th jhana, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, until the 8th jhana, unified, mindful, and wise. Knowing this as it actually is in the total ending of all fetters. Through everywhere not clinging, his mind is rightly released. In him, such rightly released, there is the knowledge, in the total ending of the fetters of becoming. Mind release is unshakable, he knows. That is the highest knowledge that happiness is unexcelled. Sorrowless, dustless, at rest, that is released from the debt. So this is the prose that the Buddha, later stated in the sutra. So the sutra today is about the debt, and you know that there are 2 kinds of debt, right? Debt for the one who live in, in the world, involved in 5 pleasures, it's just like you probably, or the one who ordained and still involved in 5 pleasures, they still have this kind of debt, when they're poor and then have to be, borrow some money, and when they can't pay back, then they have to be followed, and after that, then you have to be punished. Or maybe the debt for the one who try to avoid the 5 sensual objects, the one who try to pursue the life as instructed by the Buddha, but still have no conviction in what is skillful, have no conviction in the Triple Gem, has no conscience, no concern, does not follow, the path, the lessons, the teachings of the Buddha, and they do wrongdoings like by way of body, speech, and mind. So that kind of person is considered to be poor and to be in debt as well, even though they, tend to be in the way, tend to be in, the yellow robe or something like that. So when this is called being in debt, so you try to do good things and to try to be released from being in debt. So you know that you have to do good by way of body, speech, and mind. Only good, not bad. And that's it. Then you'll be okay and you'll be released from death. So if you want to learn more, maybe the process is too long, you can, go back and then listen for one more time. I hope today the sutra called Inna Sutra, or the death, is useful and beneficial for you. And I hope you all be able to release from any debt, from this world and the world beyond.